Look, it's something that takes time to build momentum when you first start watching what happens in building a port, which is essentially building a concrete wall around an area of ocean and then backfilling it with sand. And of course, to start with, it's all about mobilisation. It's about establishing a concrete batching plant, for example, in the area so that it's capable of producing 1 counterfoot a day, which is 640 tonnes. So it's about 600 tonnes of concrete they have to produce every single day. And I think for anybody flying in and out of Sydney at the time, they would have looked down and said, wow, what's that? They probably didn't understand what it was. It looked all these little things lined up along the area that we had reclaimed already. But it gave a real indication of the size of the project when you saw that. And then, of course, we had to put all of those in the water. And you start to see the dredging activity taking place, and suddenly the land starts to appear. And then it's almost like it seems instantaneous. It's unbelievably quickly. It's there.
It's been a great journey since September 2008, and that's really when the site works got underway in earnest. So we've had the reclamation and dredging happening since then. The counterfeit wall, the wharf structure itself has gone in around the exterior of the reclamation, and in fact that's where we're up to today, is that the counterfeit is complete. We're just finishing off the rear crane rail beams, finishing off the compaction of the fill. So really, in a 2-year period, we've gone from an open bay to pretty much a finished footprint for the new terminal. To us port engineers and port managers, it's now starting to look like a port. We've got fenders up on the wharf, we've got bollards being installed, so we're really starting to see the end game as we've hit these milestones of all the counterfeits being in place, the deck starting to be cleared, and we're really starting to see the future take shape.
The dredging provided in the deepening of the port to allow container vessels to access the port, the new port facilities. The dredging also allowed in providing the material for the land reclamation, because the expansion was through reclamation of 60 hectares of land for the new container terminal, but also for the boat ramp. Also an additional recreational boating channel was dredged of about 1.5 kilometers, which connected the new boat ramp with the wide of Botany Bay. So those were the main tasks for dredging. Well, we had several equipment coming in, mobilized from different parts of the world. We had 2 large cutter suction dredges, the Leonardo da Vinci and the Marco Polo. We also had a trailer suction split hopper dredge, that's the Bougainville. That was our part, the Yandenil part, but then Boulderstone also had its equipment. They were installing counterfort wall units, they were sealing those units, they were doing the compaction, they were doing the compaction testing. So to have everything organized, all that equipment together in a very tight environment, so that was quite a challenge.
The dredging works on the project has actually been a huge success in terms of environmental controls. We haven't had any turbidity readings outside the silk curtain, and even within the silk curtain I think you'd have to say that the cloudiness in the water, or turbidity as we call it, has been kept to a minimum. So that's a function of the skill of the dredge companies, the material that we've got, and also the environmental controls. So the authorities who issue licences for dredging have given us a clean bill of health on that program. So we're very pleased that we've gone from one end to the other of this dredging project without there being any impact as a result of dredging.
Well, actually we've moved more than 11 million cubic meters of soil, which includes sand but also clay patches and peat. Of that quantity, about 8 million cubic meter was good and clean sand, which we could use for the reclamation and to fill up those 60 hectares of new land for the future container terminal and the new boat ramp.
You know, some days we'd go out there and have a look, and there'd be a seal lying there along the top of the silt screen as a good spot to lie and rub your back, I think. So not too much wrong with the environment, I think, when you've got seals swimming around in the water.
The boat ramp that we've delivered over as part of the Penryn Estuary Community and Environmental Works is something else that we're very proud of, and I think the community is going to get a lot of benefit from. It's a state-of-the-art facility. I'm not sure there's one quite like it anywhere else in Australia, with its 4 lanes, the fish cleaning facilities, we've got recycled water coming through it, so we've got a lot of environmental initiatives in the facility itself, but already we've seen a lot of use of that facility.
Well, I know, because I have a boat myself and I've used the boat ramp a few times, and it is a state-of-the-art facility, the boat ramp.
In addition to that, we've had the community works, and we were able to hand them over early to the public. So the community's been able to get in here earlier than previously expected to start getting the benefits of some of those things that we're providing for them as part of this project.
Just looking at the environmental works and looking at those aerial shots that we have already flying down Penryn Estuary, we've created a habitat and created this piece of environmental legacy, really, for the future.
And what we've done in the Penryn Estuary, I think we can all be really proud of. It's a fantastic rehabilitation, and it's encouraging rare species of migratory birds to come into the port in a safe environment. There are 200,000 saltbush marsh plants have been planted. So look, I think the community is going to get an enormous kick out of what we've done in that estuary, and certainly everyone at Sydney Ports is incredibly proud of it.
We have taken on board as an initiative a responsibility to see that the port as a transport hub works effectively. And with that, we have the government's commitment to 40% modal share by rail rather than road.
So to facilitate that, we're after each of the 3 container terminals down here at Port Botany having 2 rail lines coming in and out of each terminal. Now that obviously is going to create hopefully a lot of train traffic, and at the moment one of the key access roads into the port would be crossing 2 Hutchison lines and 2 Patrick's terminal lines. Now that's obviously just going to cause an enormous amount of congestion. So if it's part of the planning approvals for the Port Botany expansion, we've proposed to have an elevated roundabout which separates the rail underneath from the road going over the top. It's called our Grade Separation Projects, and we're kicking that off now with a new contract. Hutchison's traffic will come into their new terminal through a purpose-built bridge out on Foreshore Road, so they won't add to the traffic on the roundabout, but you will have Caltex, another one of our tenants, will access the precinct from the roundabout. So it's really not an insignificant gateway into this side of the port. One of the philosophies I've always taken in working on port projects is the port operations is paramount. It is the thing that has to keep going, and the construction cannot interfere with it. We had that on the Terminal 3 footprint, reclamation and dredging and placement of counterfeits, that we worked closely with the harbour master on the ship movements to ensure that we weren't interrupting them. And similarly on the grade separation works, we are going to have to ensure that traffic into Patrick Stevedores in particular is not disrupted. So part of the contractor's planning has been coming up with staging plans that can ensure that that happens. The proof will be in the pudding, and over the next 12 to 18 months we hope to demonstrate that something planned carefully and well managed can not interrupt port traffic, and it will be a huge success. I think with any project of this size, you plan as best you can, and you're always prepared to be flexible in the event of things not quite going to that plan. I'd have to say on this project, remarkably, we have stuck to the plan. There's been no need to really change any of the directions or the approaches that we originally envisaged. So from that side, it's been a remarkable success.
Oh, there's a great sense of anticipation that we're very close to completing this project. But everything's gone just like clockwork, and everybody's looking forward to getting this terminal into production.